Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Monita and welcome to my July wrap up. Got 2 5-star reads and 2 4-star reads. So overall the ratings were actually pretty good for the month. The first book I read in the month of July was The 10,000 Doors of January by Alix E. Harrow. I love this little quote thingamajiggy that it says, like this little front page blurb kind of thing, whatever. It says, according to January Scholar, there's only one way to run away from your own story, and that's to sneak into someone else's. So it's about January Scholar. She lives in this really big mansion with the main, what is his name again? Oh, she is the ward in this big, massive mansion where she lives in with Mr. Locke. And it has many, many peculiar, weird, strange artifacts adorning his mansion and adorning his house. January does often feel like one of these statement pieces, I guess you could say, in this mansion, until one day she stumbles upon this book that, strangely enough, ties into her. So it kind of relates to her in some sort of way, and we find out and figure out why that is. I gave this book a 4 stars out of 5. I don't know. I don't know if I'm happy about that rating. I am, but I'm not, because it was so different to what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a bit more adult, but it's definitely YA, because what is her name again? January. I keep forgetting that name, because January is 18, 17, 18 in this book. So it does read a little young-ish, and I was not expecting that. I was thinking, because this is categorized in the fantasy sci-fi section, so I thought, ooh, it's going to be a little bit more adult, but it's not. It is incredibly light fantasy. I would recommend this book for anyone who is a beginner. It is portal fantasy as well, which I actually really do quite enjoy. I loved the different worlds that we get to see. They were so unique and fascinating and just absolutely incredible. And I loved how they kind of intertwined with our own world as well. There is a really beautiful message behind this book, and that is, everyone has a home, no matter where that is. And there's a quote in the book that I want to get tattooed on me, and I love it. I don't remember what it is. If I remember, I'll try put it at the bottom of the screen if I remember. But I actually really loved it. I really truly did. When it came to the plot twists, well, actually when it came to the story, I wasn't that emotive with it. It was just fine. It just felt average. It just felt not bland. It just felt straight and flat to me, and I wanted some sort of emotion and I just wasn't getting that. The villain is what I think you would call like a movie villain kind of thing, and just the twist with that kind of felt a little bit like a movie. It's just not what I was expecting at all. And I wanted more of a tension between January and this villain that is in this book. I liked the ending, I really did, but I wanted it to continue on a little bit more. I actually wanted the book to be a little bit longer, just because of the way it ended. But if it had been longer and I had gotten what I wanted out of the ending, it just would have been a bit too perfect. It was just such an ambiguous ending. It was open-ended. It definitely left it up to your imagination. However, I really do like this author's writing. It was flowery without being too over the top, so you could easily read it if you don't want too overly flowery writing. I like the descriptions, and I do think I will be continuing on with this author's work. The second book I read in the month of July is A Life in Our Planet by David Attenborough. Oh, I love this book so much. It is about climate change and how we can save the planet, and we still have time to save the planet and in turn save ourselves. I gave this book 5 stars out of 5. Absolutely incredible, essential reading. Everyone needs to read it. You would have seen a Netflix documentary of the same name. This is the extended version of that Netflix documentary. The Netflix documentary is shorter, if I believe, but I do highly recommend reading both. Sorry, not reading both. Reading the book and watching the documentary. I highly recommend it. When it comes to climate change and what we can do to save the planet, basically, I trust David Attenborough. He is what, 90 years old or something like that. I trust this man 100% more than any other person, except for like scientists and experts, but you know what I mean. He has literally seen the world go into decline. I don't think a lot of people can say that. Experts can only look at charts and stuff. He has seen it with his very own eyes. This is his witness statement. And slowly and surely we are getting there. He does go into depth and detail about solutions and what we can do and what we can start doing now. My leg is so cramped in this position. Like, I'm not going to force my opinions about climate change down your throat. I will casually talk about the importance of like a said topic that I'm reading about, but I'm not going to push my opinions down your throat. Everyone needs to read this book. Seeing the decline of our world is scary and sad, and it kind of makes me angry. But like I said, we can change. He talks about how little countries, little towns, little villages have made these changes and have seen these changes come to positivity and have helped them like replenish the earth. It's actually happening, and we're not looking to those countries for inspiration and for guidance on how we can improve our waterways and land and farming and everything like that. And something he does talk about a lot is how interconnected we are to everything. We all need each other. Every organism, even humans, even plants, life, soil, dirt, which is basically the same thing, but like vegetation, we all need each other. And we're killing ourselves basically. He does go into a little bit about the history of humankind, like from Neanderthals and how they did their farming into the evolution of modern day farming and what that's doing, like the differences between the different types of farming and how they've helped and also not helped the planet. It was just very eye-opening. I really thought that was really fascinating. Overall, very important, very informative. It's time for action now. Hello, it's me. Same day, but much later. Book number 3 I read in July. Yes, in July. Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. Almost had a mental blockage then. One thing I'm noticing about Emily St. John Mandel's books is that they are a lot more character focused than they are plot focused, and she's putting these characters in sticky situations, and it's just about what a character or what a person would do in a situation like this. Let me just read some little blurby thingamajiggies, I don't know what the hell you call them, on the book that beautifully like sums up what this book is about. Elegant, haunting, a unique rumination on guilt, grief, and regret. A beguiling tale about skewed morals and reckless lives. Immersive. Heck yes. Any book of Emily St. John Mandel's that you read will be incredibly immersive. The situation that these characters are placed in is the Ponzi scheme. Whether or not the characters have been involved or have been affected by this Ponzi scheme, and it's just a look, like a fictional look into a realistic situation. And a Ponzi scheme is something that has happened in the past. I can't really explain to you what it is, so you're going to have to do your own research on that, I'm afraid. That's what this book is mainly about. I did give this book 4 stars out of 5, and this was the prompt to read a recent purchase. I don't have too many thoughts about this book other than the blurbs that I gave you about what this book is, like the cover blurbs that I read to you. It has very, very light supernatural elements in this. And the supernatural elements is mainly to do with a character's grief and guilt. And it's just like, am I really seeing things, or am I going mad, or is my guilt eating away at me from what I've done to these people? Is my guilty conscience making me see things that aren't there? But staying on to the topics of ghosts, you do see more ghostly scenes or ghostly occurrences towards the end of this book, and it is still light. It is still quite light with that supernatural element. So I've heard someone say that this is like a bit of a ghost story, like a contemporary ghost story, and I do agree with that. But only very light, because there's not a lot of supernatural elements in here. It's just looking at these characters. There is a teeny tiny bit of a connection between this book and the Sea of Tranquility, which is over on the other shelf. There's a little bit of a teeny tiny bit of a connection with a character in the Sea of Tranquility. that plays this experimental music kind of thing on the backdrop of a homemade video. If you know the scene, if you've read both books and you know the scene I'm talking about, that is the connection. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. A lot of her books do have a connection with each other. I don't know what the connection between Glass Hotel, Sea of Tranquility, and Station 11 is. Not sure entirely. And I feel like I want to reread Station 11 while I still have the other two books, this one and Sea of Tranquility, still fresh in my mind. And as always with Emily St. John Mandel's writing, it's beautiful, beautifully written, words flow on the page. It's a really, really good book and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And last but certainly not least, the fourth and last book I have read of the month of July was Dark Dawn, the last book in the Nevernight Chronicles trilogy by J. Kristoff. Oh my god, it's so good. Okay, so the plot I can give you about this book without getting into spoilers is it involves or revolves around a girl or a young woman named Mia Corvia who witnesses her parents' death. She vows to get revenge on their deaths by becoming an assassin at the Red Church, I believe, or at least the Church of Our Lady of Blessed Murder. And oh my god, what a bittersweet finale this was. I still can't stop thinking about the end. I really can't. Like it's so sad, like, but you know what's gonna happen, but it's still sad, hence the name Bittersweet. I gave this book a 5 stars out of 5. In the beginning I had thought about giving it a 4, but then after writing down all my notes and thoughts about this book, I decided that this is definitely worthy of a 5 stars just because of everything that happened, which I'm going to be telling you about now. Everything, all the questions, and all of the answers to the questions get resolved in here and get answered in this last installment. Everything comes together and it plays out really, really beautifully. It does deal a lot with gods and prophecy. It's kind of in a way like a little bit like a Chosen One trope, but not really because it's hard to talk about. All I know it's gods and prophecy and a little bit of a Chosen One trope like a lot of fantasy books usually do have. If you have seen some of my reading vlogs for this series, I have mentioned quite a few times that it does seem like that there's a bit of an unreliable narrator with this book. I'm happy to say that it's not an unreliable narrator, but I really loved who the narrator was. Like, I did not see it coming who the narrator was. I thought it was really well done and made sense for how it ended up, for how the characters said goodbye to each other. It kind of made sense. It really did. And the library is one of the most awesome, coolest, unique places, or libraries I should say, I have ever read from in a fantasy book or just a book in general. God damn, what an incredible library to be in. Incredible but scary because there are these sandworms or sand krakens that will eat you if you hurt a book. I'm not joking, it's such an awesome library. There was a lot of self-awareness in this book. Like, it didn't really take itself too seriously in that aspect. The plot, it did take seriously. The plot was serious, but it did poke fun at itself. It did have that moment to have a little bit of fun. And I don't know if J. Kristoff had intentions for this book to be a little bit self-aware. Like, I don't know if he planned it out all along for the last book to be as self-aware as it is, or if he read the reviews for the first 2 installments and decided to just have fun in this book and kind of poke fun at himself and some of the criticisms in the first 2 installments, which a lot of people did not like the footnotes, which I'm of an unpopular opinion. I like footnotes. I'm sorry, but I'm not really, because if I love a world a lot, I will just want to read everything about it. And the sex scenes, that's another thing that people had a bit of an issue with, but for a man, I thought it was actually pretty good. There were some moments, especially towards the end, actually, I think, well, moving towards the end of the book, there was scenes where it looked like it was going to go one way and then it heads another, and I really, really like that. There are some politics in here. Pirates! There's pirates in here! It was so awesome. Having you think that the book is going to go one way and then turning out to be another kept you turning the pages and kept you guessing and wanting to know what is going to happen next. There was quite a few cat and mouse scenes between certain characters that I'm not going to name because of spoilers, and it played out like a little bit of a movie. Like, I could see the cut scenes happening in my head and it kind of played out like a movie. And another thing I really liked and thought that was really good was the pacing. It kept things flowing really nicely. I thought it was done really well. A knockout finale. Really, really loved it. And I really love the series as a whole as well. This is my little stack, my little pile, my little July wrap up. It was a good month. It was a really good month. I had some solid reads, 2 5-stars and 2 4-stars, so the ratings were pretty up there, which I'm pretty happy about. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below in the comments, how was your July? Did you end up enjoying the books you read? Have you enjoyed any of the books that I have read, if you have read them? And do any of them sound interesting to you? Let me know. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!